Hello again, traveler. Come, enjoy a tale from the land of Kriegeland. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Heroes of Kriegeland. We have let's just run some introductions. If you guys want to introduce yourselves, we'll go youngest to oldest.
Okay, Matthew, go for it.
Okay, I'm Matthew.
And Matthew, have you ever played have you ever played a fantasy role-playing game before? Like a paper pencil one. Okay, and have you ever played Dungeons?
Yeah, one with you.
Yes, we did
A
one
long time ago.
Do you even remember it? How old were you?
I was 8 or 9, I don't know.
Okay, so that's your only experience. All right.
Okay, good. I'm Andrew. I'm Matthew's father, and I've played a number of single instance Dungeons and Dragons campaigns, but it's been a while, and I've never really done anything more than a one and done scenario. So that's kind of my my experience with it.
Okay. Yeah, and we play we're going to be playing in the 5th edition setting, and I don't think you've ever even touched that for the most part, so.
Yeah, maybe not.
All right.
Hey, I'm Doug. I'm Andrew's dad, Matthew's grandfather, and I played Guide on games way back in the 60s. Just in a book, read it, make a choice, and die.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Perfect. So, this is our nice little 3-generational D&D tutorial. So for those that have never played Dungeons and Dragons, especially not 5th edition, Heroes of Kriegeland is just a setting. So, my fantasy world is its own thing, but all the games that you want to play with a role-playing game have some sort of rule structure to them or some sort of structure to them. So what we're going to be doing is we play in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, and that's what we're going to do. So we will start with a little bit of background for you guys on so I guess the staple of any fantasy role-playing game is the character that you role-play as. So this is we're going to start things off with the character creation process. This is when you want to start a new game or a new campaign. Typically, almost all of them are going to start at level 1. Obviously, if you've never played before, you should start at level 1, which is what we'll be doing. We are going to talk about the Kingdom of Kriegeland. So, as you may or may not have solved, this YouTube channel is called the Heroes of Kriegeland. Kriegeland is the main setting, just a kingdom in the fantasy world that we've crafted here. So Kriegeland got its start when Azure Gate was built. It was a fortress built in the canyon there to the west, if you can see that. And then that fortress was built to stop the ogre hordes that were trampling through that mountainous region. And then since then, it just expanded. Kingdom of Kriegeland. It claims its borders as everything around, basically everything you see on the map here, everything around Lake Azure Glass, which is like a huge freshwater lake. And you guys, your characters not only are from Kriegeland, but you're going to be from one of Kriegeland's newest settlements, which is Crestcall. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, there we go. Right here. You can see Crestcall. So Crestcall was created as it's one of the newest expanding territories. It's only been around for about 50 years. So pretty low population, but since it's a new startup, lots of migrants and people with the start over kind of attitude or whatever are there. So there's all sorts of people that live in Crestcall. Crestcall got its name because this little inlet on the lake to the right of it here is a very rocky kind of beach area, and the tide of the lake slams into this area, and you can hear that all the way, even though the town itself is a couple miles from the actual lake shore. you can hear the crashing of the lake tide, which is where the name Crestcall came from. So you guys will be making level 1 would-be adventurers, people who have just got their start on what they want from their life and what they're going to go for and what they can do. And you are answering a summons by the local wizard that you guys know of, and we'll get into that once your guys are created. But the local wizard that you guys are very very familiar with, he's built like a training simulator because it's his intention to create like the next generation of the Heroes of Kriegeland before he passes on, because that's what he's hoping for with his magical experiments. So you guys can make. We'll go into how to do character creations. You can make anything you guys want from the listing. All the listings that I have here, these are going to be like kind of official like races and rule setups for this setting. Some stuff is tweaked from the 5th edition rules themselves, because we all know a rule set is only as good as the story that you're trying to tell. Excellent. A framework on how to become a hero of Kriegeland. We're going to start with everyone is going to pick their basic setup. So you'll notice that you have on your character sheet listed here. So this is the official Heroes of Kriegeland character sheet. It's a custom design. You'll notice at the top area is going to be all the like setups for your character, all the like kind of the character's information themselves. So in the upper left-hand corner, you've got the player name, so that's you guys. You guys can start there by writing that in. And then
Can we make up a name?
No. This is just for this is like classifying for you, like you as a player. Your character name is going to come underneath that just a little ways. You'll see there's a character name section on the left-hand side there too. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of just go through this, and you guys will pick the basic things. If you want, you don't have to make any decisions till we get into more details of the things, but we'll kind of just do a quick run through. So the first thing that's best to pick is your race. This is listed as, so I have it here, race, who were you born to be. So there's 2 categories of the races. There's the standard, like, goodly kin, which is humans. Humans are the mortal children of destiny, created through the divine pact between Methandis, the god of light, and Andara, the god of darkness. They are universally efficient for any background, any class. Humans are always just like the bread and butter, like can do everything kind of good, and then usually have like extra normal stuff to do. Then there's the elves, the ancient eldest creation of Unessa, the goddess of life. Elves have like resistance to charm and sleep magic. It says they can see in the dark. They just have better vision in the dark. We'll get to that. But and then depending on when, there's a couple of classifications of elves. There's the high elves, which are like a little bit more like magic users. They a little excel at magic use. There's the wood elves, which are the more athletic elves, I suppose you could say. The more physically based elves. And then half elves are kind of like a little bit of a mix. They get a little bit of the human and a little bit of the elf stuff. But yeah. Then there's dwarves. Dwarves themselves are as hardy as their creator, Calthun, the god of earth and stone. Dwarves get like poison resistance, and they get they're generally a lot like tougher than the other races. So any kind of like, if you're looking to be like a tough type character, we all know good old fashioned short, stocky, hairy dwarves. Then the other ones are the wee folk. The wee folk are broken into the 2 subcategories of halfling and gnome. They are Unessa's tiny, crafty, and beloved. So they're quick and agile. Halflings get like a specialty like spiritual luck, and gnomes get some extra magical things and some of the like resistances and stuff like that. Then there is the monstrous and maligned. These are the, you don't want to say evil races, but it's the evil races as far as their, like their kingdoms and their the general populace of them are evil, but you know, there's obviously evil humans and good humans. There's good dark elves and bad dark elves. So dark elves are the creation of basically when vampirism was introduced to elven kind, the union of the immortal nature of elves and vampires created the dark elves, which are slightly paler elves that have pitch black hair. And they are generally very aligned and very slavishly loyal to Andara, the goddess of darkness. There are the orcs. The orcs, or in your case, which a player can play as a half-orc, but the orcs are the brutish spawn of Zargail, the god of war, just the savage, nomadic, extremely powerful in close combat, and then half-orcs get some, little bit of human, a little bit of orc. And then there's the tieflings. Tieflings are like the demon-blooded. So when there's strange, like, otherworldly entities that are like demonic, that like enter in and, enter into people's family lines, or they're cursed with like something like, an ancient family curse or something like that. You might have like horns, or you might have a tail, or like weird color skin, claws. And then you can invoke, like, you get, like, magic and stuff like that based on that. And then goblins. Goblins are Zargail's other race, which basically they enslaved one of the early halfling families and, like, corrupted them down to create kind of like an orcish, like, almost like orc-halfling hybrid, which is goblins, the tiny little green a-holes that stab you in the back.
That sounds like me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
All right. So that is the races. So you don't necessarily have to choose your race right this second, because we'll go into more detail as we talk about classes and stuff like that. But is there any that stand out to you guys, or are any of you thinking about any of them?
You could do half wood elf or half high elf, right?
Yes, or half dark elf.
Or half dark elf. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you choose half elf, you can choose which type of thing you are. Do you guys? And if you know what you want to be, then you can definitely write that down on the race section of the character sheet, which is it's just right down below the player name there. You can see.
The high elf.
I don't know. Yeah, it's magic. I don't know. I'm not big on magic. I want
Wood
that
elf.
archer.
Okay.
Yeah, wood.
Okay.
Okay.
So we got. Sounds like there's some choices being made here. So we got a half elf.
I want to do half elf on the wood elf side.
Half wood elf and
then
I want to do a straight wood elf.
straight up wood elf.
Full-blooded wood elf. So you guys probably come from like the same community in Crest Call. Like there's like a wood elf family / community that's like living just off town. Matthew, do you know yet, or are you still thinking?
I don't know.
Okay.
I want to be either one of three things: an orc, tiefling, or goblin.
Okay, so you want to be something. You want to be something monstrous. Okay.
Yes.
Well, then that's perfect. Keep that in mind, and then when we look at the classes, you can maybe determine what you'd want to be based on, like, because like goblins are better at like sneaking, orcs are better at like, melee combat, and then tieflings can kind of really just do anything. They're just like slightly magical humans.
Maybe on our side.
Yeah. He could just be like some
Slightly
family cursed tiefling kid that because he has like horns, but you grew up with him or whatever, and he's still just a person from town. So okay, so then we will move on to background. So the background, who were you raised to be? So your background gives you a little bit of info. It's kind of it gives you a few extra skills and a little bit more insight into like where your character came from before they develop the skills of what their class will be. So background is essentially just like, what were you doing when you were like an apprentice age, or like what has your family taught you, things like that. So the listing here that you can pick from is acolyte, charlatan, criminal, entertainer, folk hero, guild artisan, hermit, noble, outlander, sage, sailor, soldier, and urchin. And then you can obviously come with a custom one. We're not going to worry about that for now. You only get a few things. Oh, if you want like more details, we'll get into the backgrounds when you actually like are looking to things. So we'll go over these again, but it's something to keep in mind. Is just like where did your guy come from? Because the whole point of the character you're trying to make is that it's like you want to try to craft them into being like a realistic character in a story. Like, where did they come from? What are they doing? Who are they? So race and background are kind of like your early life stuff, like the stuff that's locked in.
What and if you do sage, is that like a
you'll get benefits to like magic casting stuff. So you're like you're like a magic like you're some sort of like student or scholar of usually of magic, but yeah, like any other questions on those?
What is more on the guild artisan?
So the guild artisan is like you get to choose like a craft, whether that's like stonemasonry or blacksmithing or something like that, and then you'll get benefits for that if that's what you choose. And again, you don't have to choose this right at this second. We're kind of just going through all the stuff, and then when we go into like more details, that's when we'll lock it in. All right, we good?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
So after background, we've got class. So class is going to be your main, like, this is where you're going to get your skills, your fighting abilities, what weapons you can use. This is the actual thing that like you'll have some skills for, and then you will progress in these classes as you like become a better hero. So for now, you guys are just going to be a level 1 of one single class. So this is class. Who do you choose to be? So I broke them up here. Obviously, again, we'll go into more detail in a bit here, but we've got the frontline brawlers, which are barbarian, fighter, monk, and paladin. Barbarians, you get angry and bash stuff. Fighters, you are like more of a technical trained fighter. Fighters aren't just for frontline too. There's a lot of really good fighters that you can do for like archery and stuff like that. Fighters are like the weapon master style like class. So if anyone's thinking of like archer or range damage, fighters like bow fighters are very good. Monk is like a martial artist / like, I guess it's kind of like ninja / what were the like back in the day? What were the like Jewish assassins called? I don't remember the guys that would like they wear like tactical cloth and they'd sneak in and knife you or whatever. Like I don't remember what they're like called, but the like hashashins and stuff like that,
Yeah.
So the idea is like you're like a trained like martial artist, and you are more and you move around with like clothing on, but you still are like deadly with your like hands and grapples and knives and whatever other thing. And then paladins are like we as fellow fantasy guys, you all know what paladins are, just the like classic like channel your holy god's power and go do whatever you need to do. What was that?
Are there dark, he asked if there's like a dark version of a paladin, so it's not holy, but it's
There are like anti-paladin shadow knight types. You can't be one for this little thing, because there would be no reason why you're like a bloodthirsty like god of war paladin like hanging out with these two wood elves like, hey guys, like, so you would have never, you probably, if you got to the point where you swore an oath to an evil god, you're probably not like in this town anymore. You know what I mean? You wouldn't just be like a regular citizen. But there are evil paladins for sure. The magic users. Clerics are kind of the more magic-based version of the paladin, where they their powers and their magic is still based entirely on like the god that they choose, but they're more of a like healers and casters like that. Druids are the force of they're the nature casters, and then there's sorcerer, which is sorcerer, warlock, and wizard all utilize arcane spells, which is like where like the rate like so there's divine magic and arcane magic. Divine magic's like healing and other like powers that come like from the god that are granted from the gods directly. And then arcane is like the wizarding, like it's like the entity of chaos that you can like pull from depending on who you are. So sorcerers get like a natural talent and they can throw spells just because of who they are, while a wizard studies and perfects and creates this like legacy of how he, you know, utilizes magic. And then warlocks is you sign a pact with greater power for your power. So
Can they be evil?
Yes.
Warlocks are more likely than not to be evil, but yes, you can be an evil warlock. There are evil warlocks. There's good and evil warlocks, but point is that's just the point is like your power comes from like a sugar daddy, like a.
Yeah. Matthew's gonna betray us all. I can feel it.
That's fine. We'll see what happens. And then there's the last kind of cluster of things. This is the like skillfully useful guys. Bards are casters, but they also get more kind of like they're like jack of all trades for skills and stuff like that. Rangers are good for like they live and strive in the harshest wilderness and adopt like nature's lethality. The idea is that rangers are outdoorsmen. They can track. They have some spells and some magic, but it's usually all like nature based. They're kind of like druids that are more on the fighting end of things rather than the magic end of things. And then rogues is the last one. The classic rogue. You sneak around, you pick locks, you infiltrate things, maybe do a little stealing, maybe do a little killing. So, the question is, does anyone have any questions, or is anyone leaning towards any of those classes?
Does the rogue do a lot of damage?
Yes. So, rogues get a thing called sneak attack, where you get to add extra dice of damage anytime you hit with, basically it's certain types of weapons in certain conditions, but if it's like you're sneaking, if you're attacking someone that's unaware of you, or you have like advantage in combat, like one of your allies is like fighting them, like actively engaged with them, then you can still get like a sneak attack off by like coming in from the side or whatever. So rogues are good at dealing extra damage for that, and then they get a lot of skills, useful tricks and skills. Any other questions on classes, or are we good for just the general idea for now?
So do we put one down now?
You don't have to until we're going to go into each specific section, like specifically in the next part, and then that will that's when you have to for sure make a choice. So for now, it's kind of keep it in your mind.
Can you be a rogue and a warlock?
Not at level 1, which is.
But like at level 2?
Yeah. You can multi-class anything you want. Like there's parameters and like prerequisites and stuff like that. But yeah, you can be a warlock you can be a rogue warlock and you just sell your soul and murder and steal. If that's what you want to do in the game, you can do that.
Absolutely.
This is called Heroes of Kriegeland, but we all
For the good of America.
Well, for the good of America, independent thought and choice and freedom of acting a fool is fine.
Well, shaping.
That's right. So, this is okay. So the last couple parts. This you'll choose now. This is alignment. Alignment is going to be on the top of your character sheet.
Okay.
You'll see it's just right next to your player name there. So your alignment is one of the 9 alignments listed here. What this is basically like this is your personal moral code / like code of conduct. It's not a hard rule, but it gives you a good idea of like, it gives you a good like framework to like make character decisions and stuff for like what your character's about. So the 9 they are broken up into like different categories. There's good, neutral, and evil, and then there's lawful, neutral, and chaotic, and they're opposed to each other. So as you can see here, lawful good, that's the classic like Superman, paladin, just the good guy cruising in, fighting bad guys, helping the needy, doing whatever, like always doing the right thing, but playing by the rules always. As opposed to like neutral good, which would be like more like you do good things and you're all about harmony and whatnot, but like you may not necessarily like you know, nature is neutral, so like, and then chaotic good as opposed to that would be more like the like classic like Robin Hood setup where it's like you do good things but you'll like skirt the law and like that kind of stuff to get your goals done. And then if you transfer over to like neutral, a lawful neutral character is more like that's like a judge. It's like you'd be like a very like secular minded type of like you follow the rules and everything, but like your decision making is done, you know, whether it's for good or for bad, that's up to you in the moment kind of thing. And then true neutral would be like that. True neutral is like animals and stuff like that. Like that's, I mean, you can be true neutral, but like it's hard to do as like a conscious thinking creature. And then chaotic neutral is more like a good example of chaotic neutral would be like Jack Sparrow. That's the like you're just out for yourself. You'll do good things, you'll do bad things. All that matters is that you're getting what done that you want. So if you want the classic like selfish a-hole build, you know, chaotic neutral's perfect.
Yeah, that's what you want to do.
Okay.
And then obviously if you wanted to go into the evil section, the alignments are lawful evil, which is more of the like lawful evil run off of rules and structure. So lawful evil would be more of like a tyrant type mindset, as opposed to like chaotic evil, which is like Jason Voorhees or most orcs and stuff. That's like kick in the door and stab a baby and don't care, you know, like
That's too much.
Yeah,
that's too far usually. It's very, and honestly, that like chaotic evil is there for a reason, and there are people who've played chaotic evil like characters in campaigns, but it's very hard to if you're trying to just put a normal coherent story together unless the player really knows what they're doing and how to execute said or chaotic evilness, you know. For the most part, like player characters are not going to be chaotic evil because even like a neutral evil like character is like, yeah, you're out for yourself, you do bad things, you follow, you know, like but you still have like some kind of like code of conduct. So go ahead and choose an alignment, and then if you want to help with that decision, you'll also choose your deity. So in the realm of Khalistan, home to the kingdom of Kriegeland, it is controlled by the pantheon known as the Triniad, named for the collection of three groups of deities, Light, Foundation, and Darkness, that have been formed at the primordial alliance to maintain life and balance among the mortal realm. In Khalistan, all gods are feared and respected, but it is considered uncouth to not claim a patron deity publicly, though in many societies the audacity of agnosticism is preferred to the open worship of the gods of darkness. So, the gods themselves also have alignments. Your alignment doesn't have to match exactly to them, but it's just a good guiding principle. So we'll just do a quick recap. The gods of light are Mathandus, who's the god of like light, healing, and hope and faith.
Make up your own.
There's Unessa, which is the goddess of life. So as you can see, Mathandus is lawful good, Unessa is chaotic good. So that's kind of where that like concept is where that comes from. Parmidas, the Lord of Knowledge, he's neutral good, and then Zarel, the Sword Maiden, is lawful good. Zarel's like the goddess of paladins and like justifiable warfare. Parmidas is like the Lord of Knowledge and like learning and like diplomacy and society. Then the gods of Foundation are Braxion, which is the god of fire and magic. He's lawful neutral. There's Calthun, who's lawful neutral. That's the creator of the dwarves, and he's the god of like earth and like craftsmanship and stuff like that. There's Cisnia, the true neutral. She's the goddess of water and like the moon and the stars and navigation and sailing and stuff like that. Then Flelly is the goddess of air. She's chaotic neutral. She's kind of just the flightiest goddess. So, and then the gods of darkness, we can still go over them if you guys worship if that's who your patron deity is, by all means. Zargail is the god of war and creator of the orcs and goblins. Sharonth is the mistress of thieves. She's the goddess of thievery and piracy.
The symbol.
Vormanicus is the god of demons and cancers and disease. And then Andara is the goddess of darkness, who is part of, her and Mathandis are married and made humans.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
Which one is that?
Andara.
Andara.
What is your thing again?
What about it? What about her? Oh,
Yeah,
her profile. It's undead, darkness, secret societies, stuff like that.
I think it's cool with human eyes crying tears of blood.
That works.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
I think that's good.
Yeah, that's what I'm choosing.
Okay, so what deity and alignment did you all take? I'm just curious to know for now.
Yeah. Okay. Did you pick one? Mathandris or whatever?
Yeah.
Mathandis?
Which one? Mathandis?
And then
that
what
was-
alignment did you do?
He did neutral good.
Neutral good, Mathandis, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matthew did chaotic neutral,
Okay, that's
but he worships Andara.
okay. So he's just he's just edgy.
Yeah, he's got chaos, chaotic neutral, lawful evil all in one thing.
Nice, beautiful. And then what about you?
So mine's a little bit more complex and nuanced, but I won't get too crazy with it. I'll tell you, it's part of my backstory that I was just thinking of. I didn't prep for any of this.
Oh no, that's great. That's great.
So, lawful neutral is what I am.
Okay.
My deity is right now is Parmidas. Is that it?
Yeah, Parmidas, the Lord of
knowledge
Knowledge.
guy? That's on my elf mom's side.
Okay.
My father
Human
is a human.
father.
He worships Cisnia because he was a sailor. So I'll talk to you a little bit more about that when we get to my backstory. But
Okay.
I right now it's mostly Parmidas because I live with my mom. But
Okay.
I also recognize Cisnia.
Yeah, and well, like I said, all the gods are worshipped and feared and respected. It's just that usually everyone has their one that's their priority or whatever. So.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to go into abilities. The abilities section is this is where we start building your actual character and what they can do. If you don't know what you want to use because you're not sure of your class and stuff yet, we can still write the numbers down and then switch them around as needed. So, so let me go with, let me show you. It's going to be at the very bottom. You can see it, the whole section at the bottom under the spells section. You'll see there's a big box that says strength, dexterity, constitution. So how these are broken up is they're broken up into, it's kind of like body and mind, as it were. So if we go here, you can see the three body abilities on the left: strength, dex, and con. Strength is just raw, brute, physical force. Dexterity is quickness, agility, and speed. Constitution is your bodily health and toughness. Then the mind. Intelligence is learning and memorizing information. Wisdom is mental discipline and resiliency. And then charisma is charm, wit, and personality. So, and we'll want to go over what your because your classes are going to want specific abilities to fuel whatever it is you're doing. So, for instance, if you're a rogue, you're definitely going to want to have dexterity as your highest stat because that's the one that's used for sneaking around and used for ranged attacks or using smaller weapons, stuff like that. But for now, rather than write down what you have specifically, we're just going to write down what set you're taking on what numbers you can choose for. And how this works is the abilities have two spots: ability scores and the ability modifier. And that's important to note because it has to do with the game rules when we roll dice and stuff like that here for us. So you can see on the character sheet that if you, at the very bottom, you'll see so where it says strength, you'll see there's a big box and then a slightly skinnier box built into it right next to it. That left side is going to be the score. The right side is going to be the modifier. How you get those, depending on the dungeon master, depending on the game and whatnot, there's all sorts of ways to get your abilities. Some people roll certain amount of dice, and then it's like more dice if you want more powerful characters, or less if you want like weaker characters. Some people do like a point build system, where it's like you have a pool of points that you like add to them to like build them up.
No.
For this, to make it quicker and just kind of go for it, I have offered you get one set of these numbers. It's 6 numbers, and you can see that they are they're listed as like even numbers that range from like 8 to 18. The higher the better, and that's going to be the better modifier. And then as you can see here, it explains the modifier. So an 8 is like a -1 modifier, meaning that you're like below average. Like you actually have minuses at whatever that stat is when you're trying to use it. A 10 is average, that's just a straight 0. And then a 12 is a +1, meaning you have like +1 when you use that stat for any of the things that stat's used for. So on and so forth, from 14 +2, 16 at a +3, 18 at a +4. So the idea is take one of these stat blocks and just write down the numbers at the very bottom of the page. If you want to assign them to the stats that you want them in, you can now, but I wouldn't bother. I would just wait till we go into the specifics of the class. Does that all make sense? Does anyone have any like questions about?
Do any of the races give stat modifications?
Yes. Your race will give you stat modifications depending on what you are. So, like I said, like if you have the base number that you have here, then we can kind of just run from there.
You go on the straight 14 route.
Yeah.
You don't need to do them in that order. You can move the numbers around, right?
Yes. Those numbers are just to show you what you have access to on the low and high end. The idea is like the first one is like the most like balanced. Like you have a pretty good one, a couple of mediums, and a couple of ones. The second one is like what we call min maxing. It's like you'll get an 18, but you have to have 2 8s in trade for that. So the idea of min-maxing is like you'll spend all your points, so minimize all the stuff that you don't care about to then maximize like your strength or whatever. So that's like it's like, yeah, I'm dumb and ugly and I can't think and I can barely move, but I can hit you so hard because like so. And then the third row is like more like if you want like a good spread of like you're kind of okay at everything. Okay, so does everyone have their little set of numbers written down?
What's the top one again?
That's like the normal.
That's kind of the normal spread of like you'll have one bad and one pretty good, and then kind of just from there. So.
Yeah. Trying to think.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the top one. What about you, Dad? Top one? What are you doing, Grandpa?
I think he's doing the 14, 14, 14, 12, 12, 12, 10.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll write those down for you.
Yeah.
You want the middle one? No,
No.
the top one. 16,
8,
14, 12,
I don't want
10,
to be dumb and smash hard.
10, 8.
Okay.
We
All
wrote
right.
those down.
Okay, perfect. So now we'll go into more details. Everyone picked their race. Is that right?
No.
Oh, okay. So let's go into races then. So.
We do tiefling?
Yep.
He wants to do tiefling, I think.
Okay, that's fine. So you guys are both. Let's start with elf. So we'll start with you, Doug.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so you wanted to be a wood elf, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is all stuff you're gonna actually write on your character sheet in the places that I'll kind of guide you where to put it. But a lot of it you can put in the section on the right-hand side of the character sheet that says background / racial traits. You can write stuff there. So the first thing is as an elf, and anyone that's a full-blooded elf gets a +2 to their dexterity score. So what I would do is right next to dexterity at the bottom of the page, I would maybe just like mark a little like +2 somewhere next to it to remind you. Whatever number you end up putting in there from your list of numbers, it's going to go up by 2.
Okay.
So what would the half elf get then? Half of that?
Yeah, no, we'll get to half elves. So half elves get you can see it's a charisma +1, And
Okay.
then any choice +1. Any ability of your
Okay.
choice +1.
Ability is not the stat, but the ability above it.
Let me get to it. We'll go through all the elf stuff on his end, and then we'll just do it
Okay,
one
okay.
at a time. So, so your speed, which is there's a section on the kind of like top middle. You'll see a section that says speed. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So write 30. That's what elves have, a 30 speed. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You're a wood elf. As you'll see in the little sub-race thing listed there, you have an extra 5 speed. So write 35.
Okay.
What that means is that your character can move 35 feet in like a round of combat. So whenever it is that you take like a move action or whatever during like, because when we go into any sort of combat or like crisis situation, we do like turn-based stuff. And so anytime you want to move, your movement is 35 feet as compared to a regular elf, which is 30, because wood elves are a little bit faster.
Okay.
Then you can write down in the racial traits section, you can write down low light vision. Now, low light vision does not exist in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. It is something from 3rd edition that I've brought back in because it's much better. So elves have low light vision. What low light vision means is that as an elf, you can see at night in like starlight, moonlight, and all of that. You can see any kind of like twilight level of like illumination outside.
Okay.
You can see as good as if it were daytime. Your character.
Kind of
can
like
see
a
it.
starlight scope in Nom, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
And then if you're in a place where it's dark and there's like small amounts of light, like torchlight or whatever, you can see twice as far as a regular human could with like low light. But in pitch blackness, you are still blind.
Okay.
Okay, so the next thing elves get is you get proficiency in this perception skill. So all of the skills are listed above the abilities that they're a part of. Perception is in the wisdom section. All you need to do to mark that you have proficiency is put a little check or X just on the line next to that skill.
So, which one is it under?
It's wisdom. It should be wisdom. Perception is under wisdom.
Yeah. So perception, right there.
Yeah.
Put a check mark next to that one.
Okay.
And what that means is that this is actually a good segue to talk about proficiency. All of you have a section called proficiency bonus in like the bottom middle.
An inspiration.
Yes, but we're talking about proficiency bonus. Put +2 there. Everyone at level 1 has a +2 proficiency bonus.
That's us.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Level
So
1.
now that you have proficiency in the perception skill, anytime I ask your character to do a perception skill roll, you'll get your proficiency bonus added to that, which your proficiency bonus is +2. Perfect. Thank you. Perfect. That's what it. Okay. Continuing down the line of what a regular elf gets, in the section for racial traits, you can write it like this. I wrote ADV, but what that means is advantage. You have advantage on any charm, on being charmed by magic, and then you're also immune to sleep magic.
Charm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So advantage
It-
against charm magic, immunity to sleep magic.
Sleep.
Okay? And that the immunity to sleep comes from the trance, which is the next thing. So on the next line, or like down below, you just write trance. All that trance means is that full-blooded elves don't sleep. They only have to meditate in like a mild sleep state for like 4 hours a night, or 4 hours in a rest, instead of like fully sleeping for 8 hours. And then you get the elf like weapon training proficiency, which is what this little last thing shows here. You'll get to pick that when we go to like what your class is, but depending on your class, you might gain the proficiency anyway. So we'll leave that in the like just kind of the back of our heads. Like there's extra weapons you know how to use depending on what your class is, just for being an elf is what that is. And then wood elves, that's what you picked. So you also get a +1 to your wisdom. and then we already did the +5 speed, and then they get the Wood Elf camouflage feature, which it's
What's the number?
For what? For what?
Well, for the camouflage.
Oh, camouflage isn't a number. It's just something you can do because you're a Wood Elf. The idea is you can hide in like natural environments. You have like you're better at like hiding and adapting in like natural environments, blending into natural environments. Okay, so that's everything you get as a Wood Elf. So half Wood Elf, or half elves in general, you get this. So as you can see, you get charisma +1, and then one ability of your choice +1. Your speed is 30. You also get the low light vision.
Okay.
You get to choose 2 skills, any skill at all, out of all of the lists. So don't mark the thing that says saving throw, which is the first on that list on all the stats. But put a little check or an X on any 2 skills that you want, universally.
Just two of them. Okay.
Right. Oh, one more thing back for elf, and you can do this for half elf. Both there's languages your character understands. For being an elf and a half elf, everyone understands common, which is like just regular, like what we'll say English in this case, but common is the language everyone gets. You guys get Elvish as well, and then the half elf, you also get to choose an extra language.
Yeah.
Just for being a half elf. So any of the races have a language, and then there's a couple others if there's any like types that you're like looking for. So do
tieflings have a language? Is it what, chaos or darkness?
No, in regular Dungeons and Dragons, there's a thing called like infernal that tieflings get. Yeah. Okay. So and in my game that's fine. Infernal's probably just like, I mean, it's just like devil speech or whatever. Do you want that, or do you want anything else? Because there's.
I think I'm gonna take that, because that's Matthew's gonna be a tiefling, and he's gonna probably want to speak in infernal all the time.
Oh, so you're gonna just cut him off at the you've seen him around town speaking in his tongues, so you're like, I gotta learn that. Yeah. And then you also have advantage versus charm and are immune to sleep. Half elf, a sleep magic. You don't trance though. You do still sleep, but you still are granted the immunity to like not be able to be put to sleep magically. Okay. Okay, and then tiefling.
Hey, Dad, can you write this for me?
Hold on, 1 second.
I have bad handwriting.
I know you do.
Well, this is the perfect time to work on it. A good lesson, young man. Don't be embarrassed to practice something you're bad at. That's how you get good. You could just write that you get 2 skills, because you'll get skills from background and class, and then that might change what you decide to get.
What is your class?
So tieflings get +2 to their charisma, +1 to their intelligence.
Write this down, but +2.
+2 charisma, +1 intelligence. Your speed is a 30.
Where's speed?
It's in the top middle.
Alright.
You see it?
Yep, found it.
Under racial traits, you can write dark vision. So dark vision is the next level up from low light vision. This is where you can see in pitch blackness as well. So you have the same aspects of low light vision, but then you also can see in pitch blackness on like a gray scale. So you can't determine color or anything like that, but you can see up to 60 feet in front of you, which is what that 60 in parentheses means. So 60 feet in front of you, you can see even when it's completely pitch black. You have resistance to fire damage. Good stuff there.
Okay, wait. Where do I write that? Just on
same place. Yep.
Yeah, just in the racial traits, just write like resistance to fire damage. So if anything takes fire damage, you take half that damage that you would normally take.
Oh yeah.
And then you get a cantrip. A cantrip in Dungeons and Dragons is what's called like a level 0 spell. They're the most basic forms of magic. but you can cast them as many times per day or whatever you want. They just are available to you. Tieflings just get to pick a cantrip. I will let you pick that when we get to that section. So just keep that in mind. In fact, in the spell section, you can see where there's a section where it says cantrips and it says total. You can start by writing 1 there now.
Do I circle the?
No, just put it 1.
Just put a 1 there because that's how many total cantrips you have right now just for being a tiefling. And if you get a class that gets more, then obviously you'll change that number. Okay, cool guys. So that is the race stuff. So now we'll go into your backgrounds.
Okay.
Wait, can I pick a class?
Let's do background first because you would technically whatever you were raised as would have happened before you chose your class.
But he's going to tell us which one we're doing.
Right. So I have the list here again, and all it does is it gives you just a little like mild, it gives you a couple of skills and maybe like a language depending on what you picked. Has anyone already picked their background, or do you guys still? Okay. What was yours?
Criminal.
Criminal. Okay.
Yeah.
So for criminal, so this is before you even choose your class. You get.
Where do I write this?
Right here. In the background section.
Yeah. So just write that you have the criminal background. And then what that gives you is you have proficiency in deception and stealth, which are the two
Stealth right there.
skills. Yep.
So check that. And then perception is right here.
No,
What does
deception.
perception do?
Deception.
Oh, deception. Deception's over here.
Deception.
Deception's in
What does that do?
charisma.
Yeah.
And stealth is in
Yeah.
dex.
Like
You
Okay.
fool,
what
you
is-
like
a congressman, you can
fool people and
straight out lies and
Yeah,
smear.
like you're a convincing liar is what deception is.
I haven't
and then
been a lot.
kind of is.
and then in the in the same area where you wrote like your background and racial stuff, you also have proficiency with 1 gaming set of your choice. So that'd be like
What does that mean?
meaning
Cards or
that
dice.
you know how to like it's like cards or dice or like
Gambling.
chess or something like that. Like there's like you don't even if you want to choose that you can. It's more of a fluff background type thing. But you do want to write this down, which is you get proficiency with thieves' tools as the criminal background. And thieves' tools proficiency is something that if you weren't a rogue, you could still have that basically.
Thieves' tools.
Plus.
And then that's not on here, but you have the ability to use them.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Okay?
Okay, that's it for criminal. So what other ones have you guys chosen? Do you need the
You were a
list again?
soldier. Right?
Yeah.
Soldier?
He did a soldier.
Okay, so soldier, you get proficiency in athletics and intimidation.
Athletics.
He's so
Athletics
athletic.
is going to be
We,
under strength.
There it is. Intimidation.
Intimidation
did-
is a charisma or strength.
Oh, it's either one. So he gets it in both?
Yep.
Okay.
Hey.
So you get the other one over here, the intimidation and charisma too,
Oh, yeah.
depending on which one you want to use.
Okay. You also, in the racial/background traits, you also get proficiency with a gaming set of some kind. So that's like some sort. Basically, like the idea is you know how to play some sort of game that probably has to do with like gambling, which is what where that proficiency would come in handy.
Okay.
Dice.
And then you're also
get-
proficient with land vehicles, meaning you know how to like use a cart or a wagon or whatever, You can pilot wagons.
Nice. The pilot.
That's just for being a
Right.
soldier, though. We haven't even gotten to class stuff, which is all the good stuff. All right, so what did you want to do then?
Never mind. My brain died.
Okay. So I'm doing sailor, which is right there. So
There we go.
athletics.
Athletics and perception are your
Perception.
two skill things.
Great. Okay.
And then
And
you
then-
have proficiency with navigator's tools and
Okay.
water vehicles.
Yep.
So you can steer a boat,
Yes, I can.
sail a ship.
With the best of them.
Aye. Okay, so that's everyone's backgrounds.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we are going to
Yep.
classes. So, has anyone chosen their class already?
No. What?
That's the first one I can remember.
That's a barbarian,
Oh, no.
bard,
No.
No, just scroll through again.
Well, yeah,
so he can...
we'll just go one at a time. We'll start with Dad. Okay, so Barbarian, Bard, Cleric are the casters. What do you think? What kind of have you thought about what kind of character you're looking for with your soldier, your Wood Elf soldier?
He wants to be a bow guy, I think.
You want to be an archer?
Yeah.
Okay.
But either probably a fighter versus a ranger, though.
I would say, it's probably fighter versus ranger. So let's look at the two. Actually, I would say because you're level 1, fighter's going to be your best bet because fighters get what's called a fighting style at level 1, and one of them is archery.
Yeah.
You choose that, and so you'll automatically be a better archer just by being a fighter at level 1.
Okay.
Which a ranger will get some other stuff you can use, which is cool. We could talk about it if you want to look at that, but it's not the same.
No, we'll go with
as.
that.
Okay. So let's go ahead and build your fighter then. So there's a handful of things that you have based on being a fighter. So first, let's go over your hit points.
Hit points. Where's that?
Very top.
Oh, yeah, I see them.
Okay, so there's a couple of sections of hit points. The first thing is the maximum hit points, and then there's like the hit die. So at the bottom, you'll see hit dice. Let's start with that. A fighter has their hit dice is a D10. So what I would do is I would write 1/1 D10, like 1 out of 1 D10, and I'll explain why that looks that way.
So 1 out of 1/1 D10.
Yes. Because you have a total of 1 D10 for being a level 1 fighter. And the reason why you want that 1/ because you can use your hit dice to heal yourself when you rest in the game, so that's why that's important to track.
Okay.
So you always get at level 1, you always get your maximum hit points. Normally how the hit dice, what that means is you'd roll, and then that's how many hit points you get plus your constitution modifier. So right now as a level 1 fighter you have 10 hit points, and then you'll get more based on what your constitution modifier is if it's a plus at all. So now that we know you're going to be a fighter, we should put in your abilities real quick.
Abilities are these things, the
things
stats.
at the bottom. Yeah, your stats.
Yeah, I got those.
So he's already put in half of them.
Okay,
well,
archery relies on dex, so that should be his highest.
He's got the 14, he's got the triple 14, so he's got all of those on the physical side.
Okay,
yep.
Perfect.
And then if you want to I would put charisma. So is wisdom or intelligence going to be more important for him?
Honestly, it's more about what skills and what like saving throw would be applicable at that point. So it's.
I would do
saving throw.
Charisma as your 2 12s, and then your
saving throw is you have to roll a stat to like resist something. Well, so like a dex saving throw is like you trying to dodge, and like a constitution saving throw is you trying to like resist poison.
Okay, so he's got 14, 14, 14, 10, 12, 12. Okay. But because he's a wood elf, he gets a +2 to dexterity, so that's a 16,
so
right?
It becomes a 16, yes. So his modifier, and then his wisdom, he gets a +1.
You get a +1 in wisdom.
Was that go to 13?
13.
Okay.
So you're at 13 here, and then this is a 16.
Okay.
Well, don't keep the +.
And then let's write the modifiers next to them. So the modifiers, how you think about it is, starting at 10, which is a 0, every even number above 10 is a +1.
Yeah. 3 and then 1. So if he has 13, we get the 1.
It's still a 1, yes.
Okay. So yeah, he's got a +3 modifier to dexterity because of the 16.
Perfect. So now that we know his constitution modifier, we can know his maximum hit points. Your maximum hit points is 10 plus your constitution modifier. Not your constitution score, but the modifier, which is
12.
So, yep. So your max health is 12. There you go.
That goes here.
And there's a max health right there. 12 hit points. Well, it's pretty good for level 1, I think.
Yeah.
You as a fighter, you don't need to write this down because it's all of them, but you get all armor, all shields, all weapons. You're proficient with all of them. So all weapons and armors you can choose from.
He's like Jason Bourne.
Yeah. saving throws that you have proficiency in. So if you notice on the ability, there's a thing that says saving throw above each one of them. It's the first thing on the list where the skills are. You can put your check or your proficiency little thing on strength and constitution saving throws.
Check that one. Check that.
Saving throw.
That means you get a bonus +2 when you do a saving throw in Constitution or saving throw in Strength.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
what that would mean in game is like I was explaining to Matthew, a saving throw is like you're using a stat to resist some sort of effect. So a strength saving throw might be you stopping yourself from being like pushed off a ledge or something. While a constitution saving throw would be like you resisting like poison or something like that.
Yeah.
And you get bonuses to both of those for being a fighter. Okay?
That's cool.
Now what you get to do is you get to pick 2 more skill proficiencies out of the list here. And they are acrobatics, animal handling, athletics, history, insight, int. What was int? It should be on there. It's whatever one starts with INT.
Yeah.
Oh, intimidation. You already have intimidation. And then perception and survival. So
He already has perception.
So he has perception and intimidation and athletics already, right?
Right. So he's going to do acrobatics.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll be on here.
And then
animal handling, history, insight, or survival.
he's going to do survival.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Next is the fighter. As a fighter, you pick your fighting style. That's the list at the bottom of the little fighter section. We're going to go with the archery fighting style. So in the class features, like the class traits and features, write like archery fighting style or fighting style archer, however you want to do. But what it means is it's a simple translation. When you use ranged weapons at all, you have +2 to hit.
Okay, he's got that down.
Okay, and then the next thing you get as a fighter at level 1 is second wind. So I would just write this down in like the class features.
Second wind, okay.
Yep. What second wind is it's basically like a mid-battle self-heal. So you can roll 1d10, which is your hit dice, and you can add +1 to it for your level, and that's what's going to heal you during that thing. So even in the middle of a fight, you can do like a self-healing charge.
D10 +1.
D10 +1. Yep.
And 1 is just the level?
Yeah, it's D10 plus fighter level, but for you guys, that's, yeah.
Oh, yeah, right, plus level right there.
Yeah. So now let's move on to the next one. Have Matthew or Andrew, have you picked your class?
Yeah, I'm going to go monk.
Okay, well, perfect. That's what I scrolled down to, so let's start with the monk. Okay, so first things first, did you put your abilities into where they go? Have you chosen your
No,
abilities?
not yet. I'm going to do that right now. So.
Okay. So monks, you can use dex or strength for your unarmed attacks, and then depending on if you use weapons outside of unarmed attacks, it just depends on what you're going with. Another good one for monks is wisdom, because if you don't wear armor, your wisdom applies to your armor class, just like dex normally does.
Okay. I'm gonna go. Okay, I put them in. I went higher dex, pretty good strength and constitution, and then my int and charisma are all average-ish.
Okay. So your hit points then is 8 plus your constitution modifier.
Okay, so I got 9 total.
Yeah. You are the only proficiency in weapons that you have is outside of like simple weapons, because simple weapons everyone can use. The only
Hold on one
weapons
second.
that
If
you
I
can use.
do
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
my racial abilities is +1 to charisma and then +1 to one of my choice, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna add it both to charisma to get rid of the negative.
Okay.
Because it was an 8, now it's a 10.
I think technically you have to do one in a different one, but maybe it's not. No, you know what? I don't even think it is. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Just get rid of the minus. It's fine.
Yeah. All right. Now I'm good. Okay.
Charisma's probably not
got
going to come
9
up
hit
for a
points.
monk at level 1.
But my hit dice is a D8. Is that right?
Yes. Your hit dice is a D8. And then you have proficiency with short swords. That's the only weapon proficiency you get outside of simple weapons. Simple weapons are like daggers, clubs, quarterstaff, things like that, a spear. And then martial weapons are the category that goes up. That's like fighters get all of them. Like you only get short swords from the list of like martial weapons. You get proficiency with either one set of artisan's tools or one musical instrument of your choice.
Okay. I'm going to do a musical instruments.
Which one? The lute? The pan flute?
No, I'm going to do something. Some sort of woodwind.
Okay.
Like
a reed oboe.
I'll do like a ocarina or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Like
Yes.
Sure.
there.
Okay. And then it's strength and dexterity are your saving throw proficiencies.
Okay, strength and dexterity. Got it.
You get to choose 2 skills from acrobatics, athletics, history, insight, religion, and stealth.
I already have athletics, so I'm going to grab acrobatics. What does insight do?
Insight is picking up when people are lying or have discovering something or like a tactic or something about the situation, depending on what's going on.
So is it different? Is perception more physical, and then insight's more like intellectual?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good way to see it. Yeah, because perception would be like hearing and like actual like spotting or hearing something. And you. Okay. You picked your skills, right? What 2 skills did you take?
I picked insight and acrobatics.
Okay, and then as a monk, in your class features, you will write unarmored defense. Basically, if you don't wear armor, you get your wisdom modifier to your AC, your armor class.
Okay.
You get what's called flurry of blows. Basically, what it means is if you take an attack action, you can use your like bonus action to just do an extra attack. It's kind of like the same concept as dual wielding. Yours is just built in with like unarmed attacks, though.
Okay, so bonus action, attack after attack.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, and then other than equipment, you don't need spells or anything, so we'll get to the thing there. So, for you, there's not a lot of choices. You can pick a short sword or a simple weapon if you want, unless you're planning on just doing kung fu. And then you get an explorer's pack and 10 darts. You can write that in the section that's the like backpack.
Oh, the backpack.
Like
yeah,
game darts or like
kill darts.
It would be like battle darts. So like small throwing knives, like specifically designed for that kind of thing would be what that is.
Yeah, I'll have a short sword.
Okay. Take a short sword, explore back some darts. Okay. All right, Matthew. What are you going to be? Class.
Okay, my class, I'm going to be a warlock.
Okay. Warlocks use charisma as their spellcasting thing, so getting the +2 charisma as a tiefling is very good, and you'll want your highest stat in that. So let's talk about warlocks. Did you put in your abilities already?
I put in.
No, he wrote his stuff down. He hasn't put them in where they're supposed to go.
Go ahead and choose that. So, charisma is your spell casting stat, and they are spell casting. So, like, you want max charisma. After that, it's kind of up to you. Dex is good for dodging and some of your skills. Con is for being tougher. Wisdom or intelligence.
14, 12.
14, 12. And then I have
and
2
then
10s.
2 10s and 8. So
and probably those and then 8.
Probably 8.
No, wait, what?
Or 8 because you get a +1 in intelligence. So
What if we get it down? 8 and then 10 10.
10. Yep.
Alrighty.
Okay, sweet. So your hit points are your hit die is a D8. So your level 1 hit points are 8 plus your Constitution modifier.
His Constitution modifier is 0, so he has 8
hit points. So he's the squishiest. 8, 9, and 12 are the hit point spreads. So the archer is the tank because he's just a battle-hardened soldier.
Archer tank.
It's not
yeah, I
bad.
forgot.
Okay, warlocks are proficient with light armor only.
HP.
Hold on.
Oh yeah.
Right
okay.
there. Hit points, max HP is right there. That's 8.
8.
And then your hit dice is 8. So,
Yeah, you have 1d8 hit dice at the moment.
okay.
Okay, in the class features or anywhere else you want to write like a proficiency type thing, you are proficient with light armor. So the only armor you can wear for this is leather then. So the monk,
Leather.
you don't get any armor. Matthew can wear light, and then the elven tank archer can wear up to whatever. He could wear full plate. You don't get it for level 1, but that's the heaviest armor you can get up to. All right, so your saving throw proficiencies. Your saving throw proficiencies are wisdom and charisma.
Okay, so wisdom right here. So charisma, check that saving throw. And then the wisdom one. Okay.
Okay, you get to pick proficiencies with 2 skills out of Arcana, which is the like knowledge of magic, deception, history, intimidation, investigation, nature, and religion.
So
Religion.
probably Arcana, right? He gets 2 of them.
What does religion do?
It's like knowledge of religion, so knowledge of the gods, recognizing holy symbols, you know,
But you-
deciphering holy
I want
texts,
to do
things
that
like
in
that.
Arcana.
He's doing Arcana and religion.
Arcana and religion.
Okay, wait. What are my weapon choices?
We'll go
like?
when we get to equipment. We'll choose that. So I would just write like simple weapon times 2. For instance, daggers are simple weapons. It says you have 2 daggers as well. This is all. The equipment's good and it's important, and we'll like lock it down. But most of it's flavor for what we're doing.
And
Scholars pack. Where do I
Scholars
put
pack
that?
up here in the backpack.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll get the simple weapons later. But then you got what's leather? Is that the
Leather armor. Yeah, that's the leather armor.
leather armor? Okay, he's good then. All right, he's good.
Okay, and then your spells for a warlock.
Where's Arcane Focus?
Your spells,
thing you
you get 2 cantrips as a warlock. So change your number on your cantrip total to 3, because you got 1 as
3
a tiefling.
cantrips. 3 cantrips. Right, 3 right there.
Yes.
You get
I really can use all of
your spells prepared or known is the section on the far left where it says prepared. Do you see that little box? That
Yep.
your spells prepared and your spells known are technically different depending on your class, but for warlock it's the same. So you know 2 spells, 2 level 1 spells. So just write 2. Just write 2 in prepared. Just the number 2. You'll get 2 spells that you have access to, and then the total spell slots, which is going to be that the thing that says 1 next to the cantrips.
Yeah.
You're gonna write. Let me find it. You're gonna write for first. Your total is gonna be 1, and then
1.
Used you can leave blank for now because you haven't used 1. So how that works and what that means is you'll have 2 spells that you're gonna have access to that your character knows how to cast, and you'll pick those once we get to spells, which will be right after equipment. You're gonna have 2 of those that you could pull from, but you can only cast 1 of them at any given time until you take like a rest in the game. So your warlocks don't have as much magic as like wizards and sorcerers because they can wear light armor and have some other skills and things like that. And then you need to choose your otherworldly patron to get your extra ability as a warlock. You can choose one of the 3 gods listed here. You can choose Unessa, Braxion, or Zargail. Unessa gives you extra spells that you can learn from, which includes Fairy Fire and Sleep. And then you get an ability to do like a supernatural fear or beguiling aura that like you can either scare enemies or like charm potential allies. Because Unessa does the like so the warlock patron is the Archfey is what it's called in 5th edition, and that's Unessa in this case. Then there's the Great Old One. Braxion is the King of Mysteries. he gives you access to 2 different spells, Dissonant Whispers and Tasha's Hideous Laughter. We'll get into those in a little bit. But then you also get 30 feet of telepathy if you pick that one, meaning you can
What is
speak.
telepathy?
Telepathy allows you
Mind
to.
reading.
It's not mind reading. It's mental communication. In this case, so it would be
Is
you
it
could
control?
you can speak in your mind to anyone within 30 feet. Speak and like communicate. You can say something to them in your mind, and they can like talk back. It's like having a magical walkie-talkie system that's quite like silent because you can do it in your mind. Then the other one is
Okay.
the Fiend, the Warlock of the Fiend, which is if you sell off to Zargail, or I suppose Andara, if that's who you're worshiping, it's fine. Again, it just gives you access to potentially choose 2 extra spells that are outside the Warlock list, but then it also gives you, anytime you slay an enemy, if you slayed the enemy, you get a burst of temporary hit points. And if you notice on your little hit point category thing there, guys, you'll see there's a little thing that says temporary. Temporary hit points are magical or kind of like situational hit points that you'll get, and those always come out first when you take damage. You can only ever have one source of temporary hit points at a time, no matter how the game is built. You just always take the biggest one. Like if, say for some reason someone casts like 2 spells that give temporary hit points, you just keep the biggest one. But temporary hit points are first because if you have them, it's like having like a little shield buffer or whatever. So as the Fiend Warlock, if you kill anything, you gain your charisma modifier plus your level. So what's your total charisma modifier?
It's going to be a +4.
Plus 4 because it's an 18. So you'll get 5 temporary hit points anytime you defeat an enemy if you're the one that does the finishing blow.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I think I want to do that one.
Okay, sounds good. And you can say it's Andara instead of Zargail. That's just an example listed there
Yeah, I'll say it's
for the thing.
Okay, wait, where do I put that?
So you sold your soul to the Queen of Darkness just so that you could get some temporary hit points.
Hatred.
Yep.
Just the class features.
Oh.
Okay,
Burning hands. And
so
then-
the last thing that we need to do is shore up everyone's equipment and then have him pick his spells, and then you guys are officially created characters.
So did you get to his? You didn't get to his equipment though.
No, we're gonna do
All right.
that. We're gonna do equipment next. So
Okay.
we'll
got
go,
it.
and this is where we're also gonna write down the equipment's not just what we're writing down, but we'll write down like the stats for it because armor and weapons all have like specific things for in-game stuff that we need to like have listed. So, let's go to first. Okay, so first, this is items that are in the back, like the type of bag that you were given.
Okay.
Hold on, let me go back to fighter real quick because I don't remember what. Dad, write down that you have a explorer's pack in your backpack area.
Okay.
And then basically you can choose any combination of armor, shield, and or weapons to have access to from what the list we're going to do because fighters get whatever they want to start with, basically. Okay,
Armor.
so for the packs, let's start with the packs. If you have an explorer's pack, it's listed here what's actually in that. This is more important for longer term campaigns and stuff like
Yeah,
camping.
okay.
It's probably not going to make much of an effect of what you guys are doing, but if there's anything in that you want to particularly write down because your guy wants the rope on him or like a water skin, I don't know. It's up to you guys. Like I said, the backpacks are a little bit more flavor, but flavor for tonight, or for today, I should say. And then
How
you
many
had
do I get?
which one did you have?
Whatever. In the explorer's pack.
Yeah.
He's got the
Oh.
explorer's pack.
10 days of rations and 50 feet. So I get all 3?
Yeah, you get all that.
Yeah, you get all of
Oh.
that. We wrote
Okay.
down the warlock. I wrote down as a scholar's pack, which I don't actually have listed here. So just take the priest's pack instead, Matthew. Again,
skin.
none of this
It won't
is.
matter too much.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's fine.
all of this would matter in like I said, a more of like a long term. You guys are going to do a little one shot adventure to continue with
Yeah.
Andrew's tradition of only playing one session of D&D at a time.
Okay.
So
That's
food and water and rope and all that stuff, very useful, very necessary. when you're out living in the world, but you guys will only exist for a brief moment. So nothing.
Wait, so I have to write everything of those down?
You can if you want.
Not right now. I think if we continue, we'll add another one. So
Yeah, for sure.
We'll,
Okay, so if your armor, so for you, Andrew, as a monk, there's no armor. So your AC is just straight up going to be 10 plus your dexterity modifier
Okay.
plus your wisdom modifier,
Okay.
which is a total of
13. It's not great.
okay, 13 AC. So that a 13 AC is the equivalent of someone wearing leather armor with a 14 dex. So
Okay.
it's not unheard of or anything. Leather armor, as you can see here, Matthew, you'll write this down. You have leather armor. Your leather armor class is your AC of 11 plus your dexterity modifier.
So he's got 13 as well.
Okay, and then for armor class on the fighter, do you want full chainmail archer?
No, scale, middle.
The middle scale mail. Okay, so scale mail is AC 14 plus dex modifier, up to a maximum of 2.
Where's that? Where's my dex?
Right there. So he can't have a 3 modifier, only a 2?
Yeah, he can only have a 3 modifier with the leather armor, which would put him at a 14. So
Two.
I guess scale mail and chain mail are the same for him either way,
Yeah.
as far as the game is concerned. But
Or just
technically,
two,
scale mail is lighter, so.
So you're at 14
Yeah.
plus 2, so 16 is your armor class right here.
Okay.
Yep.
16.
16.
All right.
Okay, and then weapons. Oh, are any of you going to have a shield? I don't think any of you can. The fighter would be the only one, but he says he's going to be like an archer, though. Okay. A shield is just plus 2 AC if you have it like equipped. Okay, so let's talk about simple weapons. The first section here, anyone can use simple weapons. And so, Matthew, we talked about you get to start with 2 of them. Here's your choices. You can have like 2 melee things if you want, or you could have like a melee and like a crossbow or something like that. It's just, spear.
Quarterstaff is close to us, right?
Yeah, I want to.
Here-
You just say it is though.
Here,
He wants to
let's take a
know-
look. So you got here's your little tiefling. You got leather armor on, and then what do you want for a weapon from that?
A staff.
We're just outside.
Quarterstaff?
Yeah, because it's the closest to a scythe, that's what I want.
Yes. Okay. Where's the staff? There we go. Boop-doop. So there you go. There's your guy. Obviously, your hair and skin color and horn shape and all that stuff is up to you to determine how your character looks, which is what that top right corner is in your character sheet. But there's your little guy. So then we'll go over to the elves. That's you two. So we're going. Monk. You're just basically just look like that, but you said you have a short sword on you, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that here. There you go.
Close enough.
And then for the elf, you're going scale mail. The fighter's going scale mail, so that's. And then
Well, I'm a wood elf, so I'll go with some kind of a wood staff or club.
okay, you want like a club for your
Yeah.
weapon, and then a longbow. I'm guessing.
Yeah, longbow.
There it is. Look at that. Okay, so if we go just for fun, if we go back to the thing here, so this explains to you what the stats are for those things, and if you want to write them in the section where, like for instance, in your main hand section, you can write down these things that may be in your main hand. For you, Dad, that's going to be either the club or the longbow. So
Longbow.
let's do. Well, you might want to write both because it's like dependent on if you're up close or not. So let's start with Matthew's real quick. Matthew, you have a staff, right? Quarterstaff?
Mhm.
Okay. So a quarterstaff is 1d6 bludgeoning damage. So what I would do is write like one under quarterstaff on main hand, I'd write 1d6b.
We can't see him on there. It's leaning.
I know. It's all right.
And then it's what the weapon is called what's versatile, meaning it can be used one-handed or two-handed, meaning if you do a one-handed swing with your club, it will do 1d6. If you do a two-handed swing, it will do 1d8 instead. Short sword is a d6 piercing damage.
Okay.
And then it has two properties to it. The short sword is light and finesse. Let me explain what those are. Light weapons are the only ones that you can dual wield, like 2-weapon fighting with. And then finesse is a melee weapon that allows you to use your dex instead of your strength.
Okay.
So that's what that does.
Yeah.
And then you said you just took a club, right? As like a
Yeah.
Okay, so club is a D4 bludgeoning damage.
D4.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the longbow is a little bit more intricate on how that works. So the longbow is 1d8 piercing damage. And then its range is listed here, and the range is 150 feet to 600 feet.
Wow. Okay, that's about right.
No. Okay, and that's everyone's equipment, right? So the last thing that we need is we just need spells for Matthew's Warlock. Is that right?
Yep.
Skank.
Okay.
Smells unbathed.
All right, so Warlock. Okay, here are your cantrips. I will explain what they do. Just don't forget that you get to pick an extra one.
Yeah, you get
I
3.
get 3.
You get 3, yeah, exactly. So normally you do 2. So Blade Ward is you use an action to cast it on yourself, and it makes it so that you have resistance to all regular weapon type damages, bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage. So you can take half damage. Basically, go into for a turn, you can take half damage. It's not really the best. It's an okay one. There's Chill Touch. Chill Touch is you do necrotic damage, which is the undead type damage, and then it can also harm. It can harm undead, an extra. It makes them have disadvantage on attacks. Eldritch Blast is the most warlocky cantrip that exists because it's warlock specific cantrip. It's essentially it's like a heavy crossbow worth of damage, but magical force damage. So if you take Eldritch Blast, what?
Doesn't Eldritch Blast level up with him as a warlock?
It can,
Or is it
yes. You can do things to level up Eldritch Blast as a warlock as well. As you
I think you
progress
should
as a
take
warlock.
that as one of your.
Yeah, it's usually and it's nice to have a ranged magic spell that's just on hand at any time you need it. So when you're not up close hitting them with your quarterstaff, you can just be tossing Eldritch Blasts. Friends is a cantrip that allows you to get advantage on social checks and stuff like that, but it's a charm magic, so if people detect that you're using it, they might get mad. Mage Hand is essentially 5 to 10 pounds of telekinesis. Minor Illusion allows you to summon a minor a minor object or thing that's not real. It can't make sound or anything like that, but you can make something appear that it's There's a list of things that it can do, and we can go into that if you choose it. Poison Spray is a poison-based attack. Cantrip. Prestidigitation is the kind of the everyman's magical effect. It allows you to change something's color, to clean or soil it, to there's a whole handful of things that's just magician tricks that help you do things that are for it's just And then True Strike, you cast True Strike, and then on your next turn you get advantage on your attack roll instead of just a regular roll. So it's Blade Ward and True Strike are offensive and defensive of you're setting up for the next round, kind of.
So for True Strike, you could say it makes my staff better.
Yeah,
right?
so
That's what it is?
if you cast True Strike on your first turn, on your second turn when you go to swing with your quarterstaff, or when you use your Eldritch Blast, on the same enemy that you cast True Strike on, you basically have a better chance of hitting.
Better chance of hitting or more damage?
Hitting. Better chance of hitting. That's why it's True Strike, not Powerful Strike.
Do more damage. Okay, get Eldritch Blast
Yep.
and Poison Spray,
And then
the minor illusion.
what about precipitation?
You can do prestidigitation as well. That's fine.
Prestidigitation's good. That's a fun one to have. And I'll read you some examples of stuff it can do. Okay, and then you
Okay,
get to
do those
choose.
three.
Do you remember how many spells you have?
Two.
Two.
Right,
So
we
out
should
of this
know more.
list here, you get to choose two.
Wait, where do I write those down?
I'd probably write them down in your class feature section because you only have the two.
Yeah. Hold on, let me write this down. So, but then he also has Burning Hands from his patron.
Yes, it's Burning Hands, or let me look at the other one. These aren't what he gets. It's part
Or
of the
control.
list he can choose from. So we have for Warlock, it's
It was
Burning
Burning
Hands
Hands
or
or-
Command. Command.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Which one do you want? Man?
Wait, what does Commander do?
so
And
I'll explain both. Burning Hands is a area of effect, like blanket, like 15-foot blanket of fire you spit out of your hand, so it's like can hit multiple opponents with fire damage. Command allows you to do like a one-word command on someone, and if they fail their like wisdom saving throw, then they have to do it. So if you did like drop, and they have to drop their weapon, or like, like grovel, and it makes them like fall prone, or like flee, or come here, or
Can I say die?
because the magic can only have them. They can't choose to die. You give them you essentially force them to do a one-word command that they're prone. If they fail their saving throw, they have to do it for their next turn or action.
We don't have allergies.
Okay.
I want Burning Hands.
Okay.
I can figure.
And then there's also this whole list here too. So there's the armor of Agathis, which gives you temporary hit points and gives you like a cold damage shield.
I have so much temporary.
We can only have one source of it though. So.
Yeah,
true.
so because you have the specialty one, I probably wouldn't pick Armor of Agathis. Arms of Hadar is like you do like these weird spectral like octopus arms come out and whip things around you, and anyone within 10 feet of you has to take damage, or it's a strength saving throw, or they take 2d6 necrotic damage. Charm Person is what it sounds like. It's like a more potent version of Command, where you're like for like a full minute you're making someone like friendlier to you through magical influence. Comprehend
that's
languages allows you to understand and speak any language. Expeditious Retreat is basically like an instant burst of extra speed when you want to like try to run or whatever. Hellish Rebuke is like it's like a reaction damage, but it's a lot of fire damage as like if you get hit. So it's like a damage shield, kind of like a built-in like fire damage shield. Hex is is another classic Warlock one because it's a Warlock only. Hex is a spell you put on an enemy that gives them like makes their saves worse, but it also makes all of your attacks against who you have hexed do more damage. So if you hex someone, then hit them with an Eldritch Blast.
Oh, that.
So if you like
You want
hex
that.
someone, then hit them with an Eldritch Blast, then they're going to take extra damage. Illusionary Script is like you can make falsified like illusionary like books or writings. It's probably not very good for this. Protection from Good and Evil gives you extra benefits against things if you're against like demons or undead or like any like otherworldly like creatures. It gives you stuff against that. Unseen Servant is like a invisible butler that you can summon. And then Witch Bolt is a lightning damage spell that once you cast it once, you can just like keep it on the same target and just keep inflicting the damage without rolling to hit again.
It's pretty sweet.
I want that and
Hex, right?
maybe, but Hellish Rebuke is crazy.
You already
good.
have Burning Hands though.
Right. Well, Burning Hands is an action. Hellish Rebuke is a reaction type thing. Remember that you only get to cast one spell, and then you have to like take like a rest. So no matter you'll want two spells, but you're only going to be able to cast one of them at any given point
Okay, so
for the most part.
You want Witch Bolt? Yeah, he wants Witch Bolt.
Witch Bolt and Hellish Rebuke, or
Hex.
Hex and Witch Bolt. Okay, got it.
I'm not going to do more damage.
That is
Okay.
okay. That
Think
is
he's got it.
everyone's spells and or equipment. Is that right?
Think so.
Okay, you guys are officially ready to adventure. And now we have come to my 3 least favorite words. To be continued.